Okay, welcome to Lesson 3. In this lesson, we're going to talk about key essay features. What are the most important parts of the essay, and how do each of those parts work? So this lesson has two objectives. The first objective, we're going to discuss the elements of essay writing. What are the key elements of each essay? And we're going to look at a sample of an expository essay and talk about how that person develops his or her essay. In the last lesson, lesson 2, at the end, I talked a little bit about types of writing and a little bit about expository writing, and I gave you the Journal 1 assignment at the end of that lesson. For the Journal 1 assignment, it was a little bit strange, but hopefully you had fun with it. I asked you to write a short essay explaining 3 types of people you see at malls. And that's basically all I told you. I didn't really give you any direction. I didn't say what types of people you should do. You could have categorize them any way. You might have talked about families, mothers, fathers, children, police officers, retail workers, etc. There's all different kinds of people. So one of the purposes of the assignment was to see what kinds of people do you come up with. The other thing I was looking for here was how do you write your essay? How do you put it together? What do you see as the most essential parts of an essay, and what do you include when you're developing this short essay? In this sense, this journal was a little bit of a quiz, basically, to see what do you understand about essay structures? What do you see as the most important parts of an essay? And how do you put the essay together? Essentially, I wanted to see, do you use templates to develop your writing? And this is the thing that all experienced writers know and do. Whenever they sit down to write an essay, they know that there's going to be certain components that go into that essay. It's a little bit like a set of gears, right? In order for a set of gears to work, to make a mechanism work, each gear has to be in the right place and each gear has to have its part. Same with an essay, right? This mechanism can't work without gear 1, gear 2, and gear 3. And an essay can't work without having certain parts. Experienced writers know this, and so when they sit down to write an essay, they're never starting from scratch. They always have in their back pocket a set of templates that they can draw from, and they can say, I'm writing an essay and I know I'm going to have certain parts, X, Y, and Z, that I need to include in the essay. And then when they sit down to write the essay, they just sort of fill in those parts. And that's what I was looking for, was what do you understand about essays? What are your sort of go-to structures? Essentially, all essays contain 3 key parts. An introduction. Introductions, anytime you sit down to write an essay, you want to have some kind of an introduction that leads the reader to the topic. This is especially important because readers are coming from all different places, so you need to bring the reader into that topic of your essay. The body of the essay is where, basically the meat of the essay, this is where you have all of your content. And it could be as few as 1 paragraph, or it could be 100 paragraphs. You know, it could be a single page, or it could be thousands of pages, potentially. Most people see a good essay size as having at least 3 body paragraphs. After the body, you need to have some kind of a conclusion. The conclusion is kind of where you restate what you've done in the essay and kind of wrap it up. So when we look at it this way, we can see that the most fundamental structure of essay writing is the 5-paragraph essay. This is where you have an introduction. Your introduction hooks the reader and presents the topic and main idea. You have 3 body paragraphs. Each of the body paragraphs presents a different point in the essay and backs up that point with different examples and support. And you have a conclusion, and the conclusion is where you restate the main idea and you offer suggestions and you wrap up the essay. Most high schools teach the 5-paragraph essay. Maybe you're familiar with the 5-paragraph essay. That's sort of what I was hoping you would go to with this particular assignment. Since I asked you to do 3 types of people you see at malls, that would fall pretty naturally into a 5-paragraph essay. Right? Body point 1 could be one type of person. Body paragraph 2 could be another type of person. Body paragraph 3 could be another type of person. And as always, you do want to have an introduction and a conclusion. So hopefully you added those parts to your journal assignment. If you didn't, anytime you sit down to write an essay, those are the things you want to think about. How am I going to fill in my introduction, my bodies, my conclusion? If you have some experience with writing, hopefully you sort of recognize this journal prompt as a prompt for a 5-paragraph essay, and then you recall that template into your mind and you say, okay, I need to develop an introduction, I need to develop 3 body points, I need a conclusion, and then once you come up with your 3 types of people, you're well on your way to writing the essay. Let's talk about each of those parts in a little bit more detail. Introductions are a really important part of essay writing. They bring the reader into the topic. Typically, you want your introductions to start sort of generally or broad, and then sort of funnel down or lead into the main idea of your essay. Typically, you want the main idea of your essay to be the last sentence of the introduction. We're going to look at a sample of this in a second. But with this particular topic, right, I asked you, describe 3 types of people that you see at malls. In your introduction, you might have talked about malls in general, and then introduced the idea of many types of people at malls, and then talked about the 3 types of people that are the focus of your essay. For instance, you might have said something like, malls have been around for a really long time. They're basically large indoor retail spaces, and as such, many people enjoy going to the malls. Essentially, when you break it down, there are 3 types of peoples that go to malls: teenagers, older people, and families. Something like that would be a nice introduction. It starts broad, it introduces the focus of the essay, people, and then it leads into the main idea. So you want to think of your introductions kind of as a funnel. Right? You're funneling readers into your topic. Right? You start broad and you sort of wide, talking about malls in general. And then you narrow into the focus of your subject, people in malls. And then at the end you state your main idea. Usually the main idea is your last sentence of your introduction. In this case, the main idea would be, essentially there are 3 types of people you see at malls: teenager, older people, and families. Those are some good tips to help you create an introduction for this essay, for the first essay, and for basically any essay that you're going to be writing. We'll talk more about introductions through the semester. When you get into the body of the essay, one of the most important parts of developing each of your body points is developing effective topic sentences. What is a topic sentence? Maybe you remember this one from middle school or high school. A topic sentence is basically a sentence that introduces the topic of the paragraph. So every body paragraph should start with a topic sentence. Since every body paragraph represents a different point in the essay, the topic sentence helps to clarify for the reader what is the point of this paragraph. That's one of the most important uses of a topic sentence. When you list a topic sentence, you're naming that paragraph and you're telling the reader something like, the first type of people you see at malls is teenagers, right? That's a good topic sentence because it tells the reader this paragraph is going to be about teenagers. Another topic sentence might be, the second type of people you see at malls is older people. The third type of people you see at malls is families. Those are pretty effective topic sentences because they tell the reader what to see and what to expect in the essay. In addition, topic sentences help keep you on track as a writer. Whenever you name a paragraph by giving it a topic sentence, you're telling yourself this paragraph is going to be about teenagers, or this paragraph is going to be about older people, or this paragraph is going to be about families. So topic sentences are really important for the writer as well to keep you on track. So that's the first thing you want to do. Whenever you're developing a body for a paragraph, you want to start with the topic sentence. Right? So what's the focus of the paragraph? After your topic sentence, you want to develop your body points. Keep in mind that this is good advice for paragraphs in general. Paragraphs should always be unified or focused only on one point and not others. So whenever you're writing a paragraph about, say, teenagers in malls, that paragraph is only talking about teenagers and you're not focusing on any of the other types. This makes your writing unified. That's what the reader expects because the paragraph is always just one idea. Right? And whenever I'm reading somebody's paragraph, I'm always thinking about what is the purpose of this paragraph, or what's the point of this paragraph? Are there any parts of the paragraph that drift off track or come ununified? In addition to keeping unified, when you're developing the body points, you want to make sure that you're giving details about the points, right? You're explaining a little bit more about teenagers at malls, giving examples. Here's an example of the types of teenagers that you might see at malls. Those are good ways to develop your body points. Also, it's a nice idea to, when you're developing body paragraphs, have some kind of an ending sentence at the end of the paragraph that kind of reconnects to the main idea, saying something like, overall, teenagers are one of the most represented groups of people that you might see at malls, some kind of an ending sentence. So here's a graphic that I found that kind of depicts the paragraph, right? You want to make sure that you have each paragraph in the body has a topic sentence, it has supporting points, and it has some kind of closing sentence at the end. So whenever you're developing body paragraphs, make sure you think about those elements. After you develop each of your body points, you want to move into your conclusion. So your conclusion should always start with some kind of a restatement of your main idea, right? But you want to state it differently. So if in your introduction you say, essentially there are three types of people you see at malls: teenagers, older people, and families. In your conclusion you might say something like, overall, teenagers, older people, and families are the most common types of people that you see in malls. So you want to start your conclusion with your main idea. That tells the reader that you're wrapping it up. But you want to make sure you state it differently so that it doesn't sound repetitive. In addition, a good conclusion usually reviews the major points of the essay. So you could say teenagers are this, this, and this, older people are this, this, and this, families are this, this, and this. And finally, a conclusion leaves some kind of an impact on the reader. So you want it to sound like an ending. I tell people a lot of times that a conclusion should sound like it snaps shut. Your last sentence should be a sort of definitive ending sentence. Some things that can help in conclusions are to consider widening the topic, right? So when you start an introduction, you narrow into the essay. In the conclusion, you could think about narrowing out like this, right? Start with the main idea of the essay, reiterate the points of the essay, and then sort of speak more broadly. Things that can be helpful are offering suggestions. Right? I suggest you keep an eye out for the different kinds of people you see at the malls. Or talk about the future. Maybe in the future, malls will change and there'll be fewer teenagers or something like that. So these are helpful things to think about in ending a conclusion. Now let's take a look at a quick sample of an expository essay written on the exact same topic that you had to write about. It was about types of people that you see at malls. Okay, here's a sample that's just like the essay that you wrote for today. I gave somebody basically the exact same assignment. I said, write about 3 people that you see at malls. And this person took that assignment and developed it into a pretty well-developed 5-paragraph essay. There's 3, there's paragraph 4, and there's the conclusion right there. The person also gave it a header, gave it a title called this Mall People. Let's take a look at this example of mall people that this person wrote. Here's the person's first paragraph. This is the intro. And we just talked a little bit about what to expect in an intro, so let's read through this person's introduction and see how she or he opens it up. Having fun can exhaust one's bank account. By the time a person drives to the city and pays the tired-looking parking attendant the hourly fee to park, there is little money left to buy movie tickets, let alone popcorn and soft drinks to snack on. As a result, people have turned from whining, dining, and movie-going to the nearby free parking, free admission shopping malls. Essentially, there are 3 types of people that spend time at malls: teenagers, couples on dates, and the nuclear families. So very sort of similar to what we just talked about in this essay. Here's the main idea. Notice how that's the last sentence in the essay. It tells us there are 3 types of people who spend time at malls: teenagers, couples, and dates. It lists the sort of 3 types that the essay is going to discuss, and it's a clear main idea. In addition, the essay does a pretty good job leading us into the topic, right? It does that funnel thing. It sort of opens wide and narrows down into the point. You know, it talks a little bit about how typically people have to drive into the city, but, you know, that's expensive and it's, you know, difficult, so a lot of people are going to malls. So it starts very broadly. We don't really know that this is about malls, aside from the title. We don't really know that this is about malls until we get down to here. Right? It's sort of starting broadly, talking about people going out. And then it narrows to the topic, malls. Here it does jump a little bit. It jumps right into the main idea. Essentially, there are 3 types of people at malls. I would probably suggest that she sort of introduced people more here, saying there are many kinds of people that you see at malls, and then saying essentially there are 3 types of people that you see at malls. So it does jump a little bit abruptly from the introduction to the main idea. But it's a pretty good sentence. It's a pretty good introduction. It's interesting, and it leads us well into the main idea of the essay. From there, she moves into her body points. Right? And you want to keep in mind that you want to organize your body points how you present them in your main idea. So hopefully she's talking about teenagers first, then couples, then nuclear families, and I think that is how she organizes her essay. So let's take a look at the next, the first body paragraph. Notice how you typically want your body paragraphs to be a little bit longer. In an introduction, you could probably get away with between 4 and 6 sentences. Typically, your body paragraphs, you want them to be a little bit longer. I usually say, 6 to 8 or 6 to 10 sentences is a good length for each of the body paragraphs. So here, we talked about topic sentences. Let's see how she starts her topic sentence to this essay. Teenagers are the largest groups of mall goers. Nice. That's a good topic sentence. It tells us that this paragraph is going to be about not couples or nuclear families, but teenagers. Right? It gives us the focus of the essay. So solid topic sentence. And then let's see how she develops it. She says, the guys saunter by in sneakers, t-shirts, and blue jeans, complete with a package of cigarettes sticking out of their pockets. The girls stumble along in high-heeled shoes and daring tank tops with hairbrushes tucked snugly in the rear pockets of their tight-fitting designer jeans. Traveling in a gang that resembles a wolf pack, the teenagers make the shopping mall their hunting ground. Their raised voices, loud laughter, and occasional shouted obscenities can be heard from as far as half a mile away. They come to pick up chicks, to meet guys, and basically just to hang out. So she doesn't really end her paragraph with a sort of an ending sentence, but it's not entirely necessary to do that. One thing to notice about this paragraph that's really nice is that it stays unified. Every single sentence and piece in here is talking about teenagers in the mall and is developing this point, trying to show us the teenagers at the mall. She does a really nice job giving us specific examples, right? She talks about the guys and what they're wearing, t-shirts, the girls and what they're wearing and what they look like. And then she talks about the groups of teenagers sort of traveling around as a wolf pack, making the shopping mall their hunting ground, and then gives us the sound of the teenagers. They have raised voices, loud laughter, and occasional obscenities. They come to pick up chicks, to meet guys, and basically just to hang out. So pretty good. I think it stays focused, and it gives several good examples. That's one thing that can really help you in developing your writing. If you're not using any research or any sources, try to give us specific examples and details, because those kinds of things make writing vivid. So a good first paragraph. Let's take a look at her next paragraph. Couples are also now spending their dates in shopping malls. The young lovers are easy to spot because they walk hand in hand, stopping to sneak a quick kiss after every few steps. They first pause at jewelry store windows so they can gaze at diamond engagement rings and gold wedding bands. Then they wander into furniture departments in the large mall stores. Whispering happily to each other, they imagine how that 5-piece living room set or brass headboard would look in their future home. Finally, they drift away, their arms wrapped around each other's waists. So this one does kind of have a closing sentence, right, where they're sort of drifting away and walking away. It also has a nice topic sentence, just like the first paragraph. It tells us that this paragraph is about couples. Couples are now also spending their dates at shopping malls, and it uses the word also, which is nice. It's connecting this to the, it's telling us that we're moving into the next topic. So nice topic sentence here. And then it goes on to give us very good description and details of the couples at the malls. It says they walk hand in hand. They stop to sneak a quick kiss every few steps. They pause at jewelry stores and look at engagement rings. Then they wander into furniture departments. They whisper happily at each other. And then at the end, they're sort of drifting away with their arms wrapped around each other's waists. Another nice thing about this paragraph is that, just like the previous one, it stays unified. It is only talking about couples and not about teenagers or families. So nice paragraph here. Let's take a look at the last one, the last body paragraph. Lastly, families visit the mall on Friday and Saturday evenings. The kids always want to see some of the special mall exhibits geared toward little children. Mom walks around looking at various things until she discovers, and Dad is always at a large store. There's something missing in here. Maybe that's why this paragraph is so short. And Dad is always at a large store and is admiring the products he would love to buy. Indeed, the mall provides something special for every member of the family. I was going to say this paragraph seems short. It's definitely on the short side for a body paragraph, but it looks like there might be something missing in here. So maybe the person didn't finish the thought and jump to the next thought. This is a good reason to always proofread your work. Make sure that anytime you write something, you read it back and make sure you're not missing anything. But again, it starts off well. It has the good topic sentence. It tells us that this paragraph is going to be about families. And it talks a little about the kids, it talks a little bit about mom, and it talks a little bit about dad, so it stays focused and unified. The only thing is it seems like it's missing something in here, and it's short, right? So this is only 1, 2, 3, 4 sentences, right? Which is definitely on the shorter side. So like I said, at least 6 to 10 is a pretty good length for a body paragraph. Anyways, the other two look pretty good. Now let's take a look at the conclusion. This conclusion also looks a little bit on the short side. Conclusion, you can get away with having the shortest paragraph of your whole essay in your conclusion. But even this looks a little bit small. I would have, probably brought it down to the next line and added, a 4th sentence in here. But let's see how she does it. The teenagers, the couples on dates, and the nuclear family make up the vast majority of mall goers. So here, she's restating her main idea. And then she's restating the main idea, and she says, and she does a nice job here, giving it to us in a different phrasing, so it doesn't sound repetitive from the intro. She says, these folks need not purchase anything to find pleasure at the mall. They're shopping for inexpensive recreation, and the mall provides it. Nice. So here she kind of wraps up the idea. It does sound like it snaps shut here. It sounds like an ending. It doesn't sound like there needs to be anything else in here. So that's good. Yeah, she might have just opened it a sentence or more, but it works as a conclusion. I would say it's a solid conclusion. So there you have a good example of an expository essay, very similar to what I'm looking for, and those are some of the features to keep in mind with writing. Let's jump back here to the PowerPoint. Okay, so overall, when you want to write a successful essay, there are several things to keep in mind, or several keys to the successful essay. First, you always want to make sure that you have an introduction that presents the topic and main idea clearly. You want to make sure you have 3 body paragraphs at least. That's usually what people say, right? At least 3 paragraphs. If you're writing a longer essay, though, you could have any number of body paragraphs. You want to make sure you keep each paragraph unified, focused only on one idea. You want to make sure you use topic sentences for each of your body paragraphs when you begin them, so you tell the reader what to expect in the paragraph. And you want to make sure you wrap up your essay with a conclusion. Right? The conclusion should restate your main point, and it should sound kind of like an ending. You could try using suggestions or looking at the future. So that's it for this lesson. There's no journal after this lesson. I want you to move directly on to lesson 4, where we're going to talk a little bit about argumentative writing, and I'll see you there.